and welcome to Monday Night Politics Meet the Candidates, presented by the Dallas Examiner. I'm Molly Finch Belt, publisher of the Dallas Examiner. The Dallas Examiner has presented Monday Night Politics for over 12 consecutive years prior to elections. The Dallas Examiner does not endorse candidates. We seek to inform the community so that when they go to the polls, they are informed voters. All candidates who provide their email addresses on their applications when they file for office are invited to participate in Monday Night Politics. Monday Night Politics is not a debate, it's a forum designed to inform the community about the candidates' qualifications, their platform, etc. We could not present Monday Night Politics without our sponsors, who are nonprofit organizations, and they do not endorse either. In addition to Monday Night Politics, our website, www.dallasexaminer.com, has a section for voter education. Here you'll find current information about voting. Visit www.dallasexaminer.com. I would be remiss if I didn't mention two people who have worked with Monday Night Politics Meet the Candidates behind the scenes for over 12 years. The first person is Robin Jimenez, Vice President of Production and Editorial at the Dallas Examiner. The other person is Christy Thomas, Monday Night Politics Advisory Committee. We are happy tonight to have as our moderator Charles O'Neill. Charles is president of the Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce, and he was the first editor for the Dallas Examiner when the newspaper was founded by my father in 1986. Thank you for attending the forum tonight.
Good evening and welcome back to Monday Night Politics. And tonight we have Democratic primary challengers for Criminal District Judge, Dallas County Court number 6. We have with us Ms. Allison Allen and Ms. Nancy Mulder. We'll do this the easy way, alphabetical order. We have 2 minutes for opening statements, 2 minutes for questions and answers, then we'll have 2 minutes for closing statements as well. So you're up now, 2 minutes for opening statements, Ms. Allen.
Hi friends, my name is Allison Allen. I'm running for Criminal District Court 6. I am a board-certified criminal attorney. I'm a former public defender. I could go on about my resume, but I find that people don't really care what you know until they know that you care, and so I want to tell you what I care about. First and foremost, I'm a criminal justice reformer. I'm the child of criminal justice reformers. If you ask my mother what her greatest achievements are in her life, she will first point to her 3 children, because she has to, and then say that she kept 168,000 people out of prison. That's the family I came up in, and that's where I'm proud to stand right now. I care about my own family. I have 3 little girls. They're all in Dallas public schools. I care about my community. I care about my democracy. And when my community came out in the summer of 2020 to reckon with racial justice, it was my cell phone number that was written on the arms of protesters. I'm a little old to be out in the streets, but I was happy to be on the bailout team and run a bail reform project. I care about our right to vote. And when Republicans and Ken Paxton came after Crystal Mason to prosecute her for filing a provisional ballot in the 2016 election, I fought for her all the way to the Court of Criminal Appeals, where her case is now. I care about the place I live. I care about what happens to my community. When COVID hit our jails, I filed suit against the jail as well as federal prisons to keep people safe who are incarcerated. That's what I care about. That's who you get with Allison Allen, proven values.
Thank you so much. Ms. Mulder. Mm-hmm.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Mulder, and I am a current judge here in Dallas County for a misdemeanor criminal court. First, I want to thank the Dallas Examiner, Mr. O'Neill, for being here, and Mrs. Belt for maintaining this great forum during the pandemic. For me, experience matters, and then I can tell you about my values as well. I started as a prosecutor at the DA's office and did that for 12 years, then started practicing criminal defense, which I did for 8. I then took the bench, and in my first term, I reduced the pending caseload in this court by 41%. Yes, I said 41% pending caseload, because we all know that justice delayed is justice denied. So that tells you that I am down at the courthouse working. During the 8 years I've been on this bench, I put an end to the practice where automatic warrants would be issued for individuals simply because they couldn't pay their probation fees. I started the cite and release misdemeanor marijuana court that ended on-site arrests in 2017 for individuals committing no other crime than possessing a small amount of marijuana. I partnered with Project Phoenix to get our young men jobs and job training. Most importantly, I have been practicing criminal law here in Dallas County for 26 years, and experience does matter. I have been a former precinct chair here in Dallas County starting in 2010. I have block walked, phone banked in every primary, gubernatorial, and presidential election since 2010, whether I've been on the ballot or not, and putting my feet on the ground for the values that we all share as Democrats that are so important for us. JudgeNancyMulder.com. Thank you very much.
And you can stay there for the first question.
Yes, sir.
And I just can only imagine if I had a pending criminal case, a backlog on cases. How will your being elected to the bench kind of begin to alleviate that problem that we've had in Dallas County?
I'm really glad you asked that question, because our institutional, having the institutional knowledge from being a judge for 8 years, I am ready to now, as I am running for this open felony bench, to take all of my years of experience up to the felony bench, and I'm ready to hit the ground running. So the first thing I would do is look at every case and make sure that no one is in jail that doesn't need to be, all right? And to give them personal recognizance bond to get out. Now, how to deal with the backlog? First of all, the first thing we can do is run what's called a double docket, meaning the state is providing funds, so taxpayers here in Dallas aren't paying for it, to have a visiting judge come in and do the pleas that are agreed to, and basically running 2 courts at once to help reduce the pending caseload. But based on my performance in the misdemeanor court, where I reduced the docket by almost half, I think you know that I am there, that I'm working hard, and I will continue to do so. During the pandemic, I was at the courthouse. We were having bail hearings daily to make sure that everyone could be let out of jail as long as they were not a violent, and by violent I mean committing, they haven't committed a serious felony offense, that they were given PR bonds and let out of jail, because nobody needed to be in jail when and during this pandemic unless they had repeated violations of bond. These issues are very important. So, I will be there working hard for you, because the most important thing as a judge is simply being there and being available for the attorneys to come and to handle cases.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same question to you, Ms. Allison. Allison Allen. How do we clear the backlog of cases?
And it's terrible. The backlog in these courts is something that we have never been prepared for. Frankly, there was a backlog before the pandemic, but at this point, it's outrageous. It's going to take us if we use business as usual, it's going to take 7 years to clear this backlog, if we get there. So extraordinary measures are necessary, and calling in some extra judges to do some more jury trials is a good step. But we're also going to need all of the players in the room. I've been practicing felony criminal law for 17 years, and I understand very well that one of the biggest impediments to getting cases resolved is not having everyone in the same room together. When I take the bench in 2023, I'm going to first start with the highest volume attorneys in that courtroom, and arrange by defense attorney to have all clients in jail, all clients on bond, and all prosecutors involved there in the room on that person's docket day. So if we arrange to have everyone there, we can shoot to reduce that one attorney's caseload by about 35%. I think that that's not unreasonable. A few days, a few months of that sort of all call, and we can have these dockets reduced. This particular court that we're talking about, the sitting judge has basically taken the pandemic as a paid vacation, and there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of low-hanging fruit that can be cleared out, and I aim to do that on day one.
So we say there, and for this question, this is basically a slow roller, as I mentioned to you. How will your being elected to the office change the way this court administers law?
So, like I mentioned in the previous question, I have been practicing felony law for a very long time, and I have seen the places where business as usual falls down, and where we have problems, and where the system slows down. A lot of that is chasing prosecutors around. A lot of it is judges not showing up. Ms. Mulder is absolutely right about that. A lot of the judges in our courthouse believe that the day ends at noon, and frankly, that's just not good enough. I have 3 little kids. I've got to get them to school by 8 a.m. I'm here to work all day, and I expect to have things going on and cases moving all day. I feel like defense attorneys get a lot of the grief for some of these backlogs, and I don't really think it's fair. I think that as a defense attorney, if you want to put my people in prison, you need to show up today. You need to come and bring your case, be ready, and get ready to have it finished. And as your next district judge, that's what I'll expect from the prosecutors in the court and the specialized prosecutors as well, for people to be ready to negotiate, and to be ready to have those cases tried. Because honestly, jury trials don't move all that many cases. The threat of jury trial is what moves cases. And that threat is made almost exclusively to prosecutors, who need to open up those files, understand where those cases have issues, and be ready to negotiate and make reasonable offers so that we can get the dockets moving.
Very good. Thank you so much. Same question to you, Judge.
And this is what I would bring to
Yes,
Criminal
ma'am.
District Court number 6.
Yes, ma'am.
In my 20 years as an active prosecutor and defense attorney, I personally was the lead attorney on about 150 jury trials. That means that as a prosecutor and defense attorney, I've held the hand of mothers whose children were killed and murdered, and as a defense attorney, I held the hand of mothers whose sons and or daughters were facing life in prison. This court is a felony court where everything from small amounts of drugs up to aggravated robbery, aggravated assault, murder, and capital murder cases will be heard. Having this experience and having personally also presided over almost 85 jury trials right now, what I bring is not only all these years of experience, but also some wisdom in knowing how to try to bring a resolution during the reckoning of an open plea in court or jury trial. Because if you can have a defendant who is so very sorry for what he or she did because they were drunk or high, and a victim's family who can hear that apology and know that it is heartfelt, and as a judge trying to bring that resolution in court, is one of the best things I can do as judge of Criminal District Court number 6. But what I also want to do is bring more drug treatment and mental health treatment. Our jail right now, with 5,500 people in it right this minute, half of the men and women in there have mental illness and dual diagnosis drug addiction. We need more programs and funding.
Did it? Okay. You both have mentioned something that raised another question to me. You talked about the disposition of cases and that maybe a jury trial, if we could get it moved in a plea before that. But I'm going to say historically, pleas haven't worked so good for black folk. Talk about that. How do you manage a system that has been so biased, but you want to make sure that justice is delivered? How do you do that?
You do that by protecting every accused person's rights. And you hear a lot in some forums where judges talk about not being overturned. Well, I've been overturned because I did not, in one situation, I was not going to create a law that benefited prosecutors because their search warrant expired in a case. I mean, there are times when being overturned, when you make a ruling that might be unpopular with one side, but it's because it's the right thing to do. So number one, protecting people's constitutional rights, but also making sure that you have defense attorneys that are court appointed to represent people who are not just, telling their client as much as you can, that they're just not pushing their client to a plea. How do we protect people of color? And that is by doing these forums, which I will continue to do if you elect me to be judge of Criminal District Court 6. During the pandemic, I was streaming trials and hearings in my court through my Facebook page. You can find that, Judge Nancy Mulder. And making criminal justice accessible to the public is another way. But in addition, paying attention to those search warrants and those details and making sure that defendants' rights, that every defendant has a say in court and that their rights are protected. In the cite and release court, astonishingly, from the numbers that we have, 91% of the men and women who were cited and released were people of color, African American and Latino. And I have pushed Dallas Police Department to give me an explanation as to why we have, and their answers are not satisfactory. So we have got to work together and kind of pull back the page on some of these issues.
Very good. Thank you so much. Same question to you, Ms. Allen.
So a lot of y'all in the room today are lawyers, and you know that in the law we have what's called legal fictions. I like to think that we also have legal jokes. One of possibly the least funny of which is when a judge asks a person who's taking a plea, are you saying you're guilty? Because you are guilty and for no other reason. And that person, of course, is there prepared to take the plea and says, yes. That question is there because courts understand and want to anticipate the fact that being incarcerated when taking a plea is coercive. When a person cannot get out of jail until they take a plea, then that plea is not the freest and most voluntarily given. And that's a problem in the system. When you say that pleas have not really gone well for black folks, that's because pretrial incarceration has been a black issue for a very long time. And being in jail with no other option than to take a plea in order to get out of jail is a systemic problem. And it's one that can't be solved until we understand the corrosive effects of cash money bail, until we understand the corrosive effects of pretrial incarceration. The idea that pretrial incarceration is non-punitive is crazy, but it's baked into our system. And to get to the heart of it, we have to get pretrial release that is responsive and that serves the goals that it actually says it's going to. We need to keep people in jail only if they are at flight risk or actively dangerous to the community. And that kind of assessment is a human one, and it has to happen quickly and repeatedly all over time.
Very good. All right, thank you so much. 2 minutes for a closing statement. Stay to you, Ms. Allen.
Okay, sorry. Long time no see. All right. If you care about holding police officers accountable, if you care about making sure that victims of abuse and sexual assault are heard, are respected, are known, if you care about stopping the effects of mass incarceration that goes through families, if you care about getting people who are in the system trauma-informed care and the kind of a justice response that actually make things better, if you care about those things, then these district court races that are always kind of a snooze fest, these are what you need to be looking at, because this is where the rubber meets the road. These are the races where we determine who's going to make those decisions for us. And frankly, Dallas County has been solidly blue for a very long time. And it's about time that we stretch out and demand that the people who hold these seats share our actual values. Being smart is important. Being experienced is great. But what you want when it's you or someone you love in front of a district court is somebody who shares the values that you find the most important. And that's why I'm running for Criminal District Court 6. I believe that our district courts can be something we're actually proud of. Our district courts can be a place where we're not afraid to go and tell the truth, where we're not afraid that we're going to get arrested on some arcane warrant just because we came to tell the truth, where we're not afraid that we're going to cause more harm than good whenever we go to court. Our district courts are here to serve us, and they should reflect us. And that's why I'm running for Criminal District Court 6.
Thank you so much. Judge Mulder, same thing to you. 2 minute closing statement.
I forgot to put my mask back on while I was listening. I apologize. Thank you all so much for tuning in today and this evening. Again, my name is Nancy Mulder, and I am currently one of your misdemeanor court judges. Now, to me, experience is more than great. It's extremely important. And let me just give you a kind of a hypothetical that might demonstrate why. Of course, it's a sports analogy. For example, if you have someone who's read everything about football, knows the rule book backward and forward, would you have them go referee a Cowboys game if they'd only played once? I'm the referee that has played, prosecuted on, defense, offense, and as a referee, almost 200 times, actually over 200 times. So experience is more than great. It's extremely important because there has never been 2 criminal cases exactly alike. There has never been 2 criminal defendants who are exactly alike. And as a judge, you have to have the knowledge to be ready for anything. But you also have to have the experience and the wisdom and the wherewithal and the patience to be ready for everything. And that's why experience is so important. And our values are very similar. And my feet have been on the ground, block walking, trying to get our Democrats elected at the state level so that we can affect change in our cash bail system. I have been working with the courts and have implemented changes to our current system. And I hope that with my proven track record, you'll vote for me, Nancy Mulder. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nancy Mulder, Allison Allen, both candidates for County Court number 6. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good deal. And next we'll have Dallas County Justice of Peace, Precinct 5, Place 2.